Yo, what's good, folkers? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're in the world, blah, blah, blah. This is Tyrus Bane. Welcome to the definition of anarchy. Looking scruffy as shit, but I don't care. Anyway, real brief. This is going to be a quick live, y'all. So, to start with, I want to talk about how Joe Biden shut down the Keystone Pipeline, right? For the gas. He shut down the Keystone Pipeline, killed tens of thousands of jobs. And now he's asking Russia and APEC, or not APEC, what is that? The oil barons of the Middle East. I forgot what that group is called. He's asking them to produce more oil. He shut down the Keystone Pipeline ostensibly to prevent global warming and all that bullshit. But why are you asking other countries to produce more oil? How is that going to go toward the cause of ending global warming or climate change? Son, you all right? Yeah. So that's just, I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Anyway, Governor Newsome is letting California burn. You know how I know this? Because remember that, I don't know if you guys remember, I was talking about the rancher the rancher I get my meat from, and how the fires are surrounding his ranch. They didn't already burn down Greenville. They burned down another city right near there. And so now he had to go up there and fight the fire on his own ranch to keep his ranch from being completely burned down. He was able to stop his ranch from being burned down, but all the trees surrounding his ranch burned. All right. His grass is good, you know what I'm saying, for his animals to graze and all this other shit. But the only reason his ranch was saved is because he fought those fires, right? But this is the funny thing. Well, it's not funny. It's pretty sad. The sad thing is there were hundreds of firefighters on his ranch. What were they doing? And he showed me video. He showed me proof in a video. What were they doing? Nothing. They were standing around watching it burn, right? But he took his 5,000 gallon tank that he has on his ranch and drove around fighting fires wherever he could. He even almost got caught up in a fire tornado. I saw a video of that too. Shit is crazy. All right. So this is what's going on. This is what he witnessed. So they let the fires burn down Greenville. They let the fires burn down this other town. And then what happens is Governor Newsome comes in and says, you see what happens due to global warming? So instead of fighting the fires to prevent these towns and my rancher's ranch from being burned down, what does he do? The firefighters, under the orders of their commanders and their captains and their chiefs, orders handed down by the governor, they just don't do shit. They let shit burn down so that there can be so much devastation that they can blame it on global warming. This is what they do. You understand what I'm saying? And I saw the firefighters standing there doing nothing as these fires burned. This is what you got going on. And so the question is, why are we paying for this? You know, we pay for those firefighters, the people of California, pay for those firefighters to stand around and let shit burn and not do shit. Yeah. We pay for firefighters to let nothing happen, to do nothing. Just like with these little riots that they keep complaining about, how the police were ordered to stand down and not do anything about the rioters. And guess what? The cops, they do what they're told. So why do we continue to support them? Why do we continue to support them with our energy, with our finances, with our extortion money? Why are we still letting these politicians run around and manipulate us and do whatever the hell they want, lie to us, let bad things happen so that they can blame it on something else so they can get what they want, so they can get the funding, right? Because if you go through all these global warming initiatives, that costs money. It costs money to build solar fields. It costs money to desalinate water and all that type of shit, right? The desalination project in California, all that shit costs money. And what the simplest thing they could do is the shit they supposed to do, right? They don't want to do it because they want the devastation to occur. They want the devastation to occur so that they can gain more control over the people. That's what politicians do. And I don't understand for the life of me why people continue to put faith in this system, to think that this system is there to help them. It's not. By the way, Governor Newsome, or as I like to call him, Governor Nuisance, is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Yep. It's all a big racket. You're talking, see, these are RICO offenders. Politicians are RICO offenders. Y'all know what the RICO is, right? Right? You can arrest, if you wanted to, you could arrest every politician for violating the RICO Act. Huh? But what do we do instead? What do? We want to blame people who want to eat hamburgers. Oh, you're destroying the environment because you're eating a hamburger. Or we want to call someone who doesn't want to mask up a terrorist. Someone who doesn't want to get hokey pokey. We're domestic terrorists now. Y'all know that, right? According to the DHS, they put that bulletin out. I guess I'm a domestic terrorist, right? No, I'm not. Just so y'all know, for the record, I am not a domestic terrorist. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not an anti-masker, right? Because I believe in freedom of choice. If you choose to wear a mask, go ahead. If you choose to get hokey pokey, go ahead. I just don't choose that for myself. And I don't agree with people trying to force others to do it because they feel like it's the best thing to do. I believe in freedom of choice. I don't believe in anti-vax, anti-mask. I'm not anti-drugs. I'm not anti-anything, really, except for murder, rape, causing harm to others. As long as you're not causing harm to other people, I'm not anti-anything. Real shit. I'm anti-government. That's straight up and down. No denying that. I'm anti-government because all they do is harm people. That's the very existence of the government. The government can't exist without harm coming to others. Their very existence depends on harm coming to people that should not be getting harmed by them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's real shit. Do whatever you want. Get the hokey pokey. Wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Don't get the hokey pokey. If you have a private business and you want people to enter your business to be hokey pokeyed and masked up, that's your personal choice. That's your private business. But it's not for government to do that. It's not for governments to mandate a medical procedure. Getting the hokey pokey is a medical procedure. It is not up to the government to mandate that you get a medical procedure. It's not up to the government to mandate wearing a mask on government property, because the government doesn't own that property. We do. The people do. Right? You can't, it's just, we let these people get away with too much. We let them get away with too much. We don't need a Congress. We don't need no branch of the government. We don't need the executive branch. We don't need the judicial branch, and we don't need the Mickey Ficky legislative branch. We don't need none of that. All we need is common sense, common decency, and respect for other people. Right? All we need is our freedom to do what we choose to do with our own bodies and our own minds. That's our choice. That's all we need. Because once you start putting that in the hands of other people, like Governor Newsom, whole towns burn to the ground. Whole towns burn to the ground so they can blame the devastation on global warming, right? So that they can what? Place further restrictions on the people and extort them further. They want to not excise, what am I talking about? They want to place a tax on they want to tax us for every mile we drive. I talked about this before. How would they implement that? Doesn't matter right now. But they want to tax the number of miles. They want to tax you by the mile you drive. And shit like what's going on in California, whole towns burning, just like Paradise did a couple years ago. Whole towns burning. And if you don't have any discernment and you watch the news and they're telling you, due to global warming, Greenville, California burned to the ground. Diamond Mountain Ranch burned to the ground due to global warming, when really it was because the firefighters didn't do shit to put out the fires. But what they are doing is they're dropping the little buckets of water from the helicopters to make it look good on TV. It takes more than that to fight a firefight in the woods. A forest fire, wildfires, you don't just dump water from the top or whatever that orange stuff is that's supposed to snuff out the fires. That's not all that needs to be done. You have to create lines, you know what I'm saying? You know, the fuck. You got to contain it. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing that. They're just letting the shit burn. They're letting it burn to the ground. And this is what our illustrious government officials are doing. They want the devastation. They want the fear to spread. We have to be smarter than to go for that. We have to be smarter than that. We got to use discernment. We got to fact check. We got to reach out to people. We got to talk to people. Just like they're telling people, oh, in northern Texas, all the ICU beds are taken up due to Modelo 19 cases in children. Yeah, all the children are occupying all the ICU beds. 5,888 new patients since July from Modelo 19, the children, right? That's what they told you. They told you 5,888, something like that, children contracted Modelo 19 and were hospitalized just in the last few weeks. That's what they were telling people, right? What happened? Everybody started believing it. Oh, it's so devastating. I don't understand why people won't wear a mask and get hokey pokey. I don't understand that. All you guys are killing people. You know, it just, the fear is already there now. They've already injected the fear. The fear is already there. They're already retarded with fear. Right? These people are stupid. They're not going to fact check. They're not going to be like, you know what? I don't know about all that. They're not going to look into things. They're not going to do their due diligence and make sure what's being told to them by the mainstream media is legit. 5,000, over 5,000 children in the last month, just in northern Texas alone, right? Well, guess what? If you actually do your due diligence and look further, what do you find? Oh, I'm sorry, there's a correction. There's an update. It's actually not 5,800. It's only about 700. 700 new cases since July. Not 5,000. So they had to issue a correction, right? A lot of these media corporations that told you 5,000, they had to issue a correction. No, it's not 5,800 something since July. No, since the start of the pandemic, it's been 5,000. But guess what? You already injected the fear into these people. CNN didn't even bother to issue a correction, by the way. They're just continuing to tell people that all the ICU beds are taken up by all these sick children. And then they tell you, well, the nerve. They had this one person say this, I think it was a doctor or some bullshit, that said we have to wait for kids to die in the ICU beds so more children can take about. What are you talking about? So not recover, but die. No, we have to wait for these children to die. That lets you know how they really feel about your children. Because if your child ends up in ICU, they're just going to wait for them to die. That's basically what he's saying. We have to wait for more children to die so that these children that don't have ICU beds can get ICU beds. What's the point then? Why would I bring my child to your ICU if all you're going to do is wait for them to die? You see what's going on here? But no one's picking that up. No one's thinking. All they're saying is, oh, how devastating, and we got to do something about these anti-vaxxers and anti-mask people. But wait a minute. You're not going to talk about how they just said they're going to wait for your child to die in ICU? So why would you? I would not want to bring my child to ICU if they were sick then. I wouldn't want to bring my child to the hospital. If I know that if they end up in ICU, they're just going to wait for them to die. Why the fuck would I do that? Why would I bring my child to the hospital for any reason if all they're going to do is wait for my child to die? Why? Why would I do it? Why? Here's another thing. How are 700 and something kids taking up all the ICU beds in Texas? Somebody explain it to me. So in all of northern Texas, there's only, they don't have, 700 kids are taking up all the ICU beds. Help me understand that. And that's just 700 and some kids hospitalized. Not all hospitalized children end up in the ICU. So they're trying to tell you, this is what they're trying to tell you. They're trying to tell you that all the ICU beds are being taken up by kids in northern Texas. And something of them hospitalized since July. Some have recovered, some in the ICU, some didn't. I don't know. I didn't look that deep yet. So what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Oh, but they're not going to tell you, especially CNN, they're not going to tell you how there's another disease, right, that hits kids around this time of year. I forgot, RSV or something like that. Forgot what it's called, but it's also a respiratory disease that gives kids pneumonia. And guess what? A lot of the ICU beds are taken up by those kids with that condition. A condition that is not Modelo 19. Yeah, RSV. ICU beds taken up by those kids. Help me understand, why are people so stupid? Why are people so stupid when all you have to do is do your own research? All you have to do is take it upon yourself. You understand that This is serious. This thing that they're saying is going around, this Modelo 19 that they say is going around and causing all this devastation is very serious. So what? We're just going to sit there and just accept everything they tell us? Or are we going to do our own research? Are we going to fact check shit? If we know that these people lie, we know the government lies, right? We know the government lies. Why in the hell do we continue to believe anything that comes from the government? Why does it still exist? And there's always an argument. Oh, well, if you do go through the anarchy stuff and you're gonna have people that are gonna try to take power and control, and then it's not gonna be anarchy anymore. It's gonna go back to Listen, what do you think is happening now? We're being ruled by a government, but there's always elements of the population that are trying to bring about anarchy. So what does that mean? It doesn't stop the government from trying to spread their influence. Oh, well, you know what? We shouldn't establish a government because there's always going to be people who want anarchy. They're not doing that. So why should we? Why are we saying, oh, well, we can't have anarchy, which is just no rulers, right? That's all it means is no rulers. Oh, we can't have no rulers because there's always going to be somebody who wants to rule. But on the flip side, rulers don't say, oh, well, we can't have rulership because there's always going to be people who don't want to be ruled. Stop them. So if you're really about freedom and what's with this weakness? What's with this weakness in your will? What's with this weakness in your mind state that allows you just to succumb? My back. That's not the proper mentality. If you're in a free society, you don't just give up that free society because little Bob down the street wants to start acting like an asshole and start telling people what to do. No, what you do is you take Bob down the street behind the woodshed and teach him a fucking lesson. That's what you do. That's what the government does. They have no problem with it. When they perceive a threat to their establishment, what do? They snuff it out. No problems. They'll drop a bomb on it. They'll run it over. They'll snipe it. Whatever they got to do. They will eliminate the threat to their rulership. Because there's always going to be people who want to overthrow that rulership and want to be free. So we should be able to do the same thing if we establish some level of freedom in society. You see a threat to your freedom, you got to snuff it out cold and calculatedly. That's just how it has got to be. It's just how it's got to be. Being freedom-minded doesn't mean that you should just be weak. Oh, I'm free. I'm a butterfly. Oh, don't confuse us with this hippie shit. You understand what I'm saying? It's not about lotus flowers and motherfucking meditation all day. If I perceive a threat to my freedom and my children's freedom and my family's freedom, I'm going to snuff that bitch out. Ain't going to be no compromise. They don't compromise. Why should we? You might have to sometimes take on certain traits of your enemy to get what you need done. And what I mean by certain traits, if they perceive a threat, they don't try to rehabilitate that threat, do they? No. Perfect example, Saddam Hussein. These motherfuckers just run through stop signs. Muammar Gaddafi. They were a perceived threat. right? They threatened the establishment's foothold. They threatened the central bank's foothold over the world. So what did they do? Yes, U.S. troops might not have killed Gaddafi, but guess what? They sparked that. They paved the way for that to happen to Muammar. And they outright killed Saddam Hussein because they were a threat. They didn't say, oh, well, maybe we should bring Gaddafi in and have a discussion. And, let's see if we can rehabilitate Muammar Gaddafi and relieve him of any thoughts of trying to form a African Union and use the gold dinar. Let's have a discussion with him. No, that's not what they did to Muammar. That's not what they did to Saddam Hussein. Nah, Pepin. They were like, he gots to go. He's a threat. He's a threat. Look, the non-aggression principle, the non-aggression principle does not mean that you just get steamrolled and let people do whatever they want to you. That's not what the non-aggression principle is about. The non-aggression principle is about just not harming other people for no reason, unprovoked. But if you're provoked, well, that's a different story. If you're provoked, you got to do what you got to do. Anyway, I got to get off this live stream. Goodness gracious. I got to get off this live stream and find somewhere to park. But, I just wanted to come. Oh, here we go. I just want to come in here and have a chat with y'all about this, man, and let y'all know a perfect example of why we don't need government in our lives and why we should just, do away with it. Because I can check up on y'all comments real quick. Anarchy Television was good. Rich Boy 214 was good. Was crack-a-lacking. Nicolette Moore, how you doing? Yeah, definitely RSV is definitely a factor in they're saying in the ICU beds being taken up in Texas. So I mean, listen, there's no way. How many ICU beds? First of all, there's a staffing issue, right? Understand that because of the pandemic, a lot of you remember when a lot of hospital workers were laid off or quit or whatever the case may be. That's another factor. So if you don't have the staff to monitor these ICU beds, then you can't use the ICU bed. See, there's a lot of factors involved. You can't it's not just, all the kids in Texas have Modelo 19, all the ICU. No, that's not how it works. There are other factors involved. And I just wish people would think about shit like this. You know what I'm saying? Just think. Use your fucking brain. Stop claiming that you whatever, man. I was gonna start getting into something else. Black Spring with Autumn was good. Yes, please hit that like button on your way out. I've saw ER lately. I know what our ER really looks like. What did your ER really look like, Nicolette Moore? Oh, you said there's a lot of shit on RSV. Yeah, I mean that's RSV been around a lot longer than Modelo 19. Listen, you know how many children die of pneumonia each year outside of Modelo 19? Like 4 million or some shit like that. I forgot exactly what it was. I did a video about it last year about how many children actually get pneumonia outside of Modelo 19. They never gave a shit before about kids dying from pneumonia. Now all of a sudden they care. This is a bunch of BS. All governments around the world have not been good exactly. It just doesn't work out. Why do you think every empire falls? Because freedom has a way of just working its way in there, and then again, Rulership has a way too. It's a cycle, right? It's hard to find that perfect balance, man. So there seems to be no end to the corruption. Yeah. Through That's funny. I like that, Nicolette Moore. Rich Boy 214 says all ties into Agenda 2030 plan. Global warming or climate change in their way is a lie. It's a straight up lie. Otherwise, why would Biden tell was it OPEC? Why would he tell OPEC and Russia to produce more oil? Why would he do that? If he cares so much about the environment, why would he do that? Why not get the Keystone pipeline finished up? Repair the pipelines that we do have that are leaking and in bad repair, right? Why aren't we doing that? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have something in place, your green renewable energy source in place to replace whatever we had already going for us as far as producing energy, then it's stupid to shut off the resource we have already. It's like quitting your job before you find a new job. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, there seems to be, yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I might be hitting y'all up tomorrow. Y'all check me out tomorrow for a Wrecking Live, and yeah, we're gonna keep this train going. All right, so like, share, subscribe. Peace out, much love, and just let's start thinking about how prosperous everyone would be without government. All right, peace out.